We're back with another recap of Fruits Basket. Has the anime managed to crawl into your hearts yet? If you're a huge anime romance fan, then we highly recommend watching this one. Hi guys, and welcome back to AniCap Explained. Today we'll be recapping episodes 13 to 25 in the anime Fruits Basket. Let's begin. While Tohru and Yuki are working in the secret garden, Tohru suddenly feels something crawl up her clothes. Yuki finds an albino snake slithering around and instantly recognizes it as his older brother Soma in his Zodiac form. He grabs the snake and demands that Shigeru get violently rid of the snake. When returns to his human form, he grows curious about Tohru and takes her to a gyoza place for lunch. During their meal, Ayan tells Tohru that he doesn't feel close to Yuki and wishes to reconcile with him for his past coldness. Tohru comforts and reassures him that Yuki might learn to rely on him again. However, Yuki doesn't seem interested in building bonds with his brother. When Hattori appears the next day to pick him up, he is unsuccessful in creating a bond with Yuki, but Yuki says he will consider spending more time with him in the future. During Tohru's part-time job, Momiji tells her about his family. However, she notices that Momiji's mother doesn't remember him when Momiji is in front of her. Tohru is puzzled by the exchange, leading Momiji to tell her how his mother wanted to forget ever having him. Eventually, Momiji's father agreed to have his mother forget ever having Momiji. As a result, Momiji's younger sister who was born after the incident doesn't know that she has an older brother. Tohru and Momiji hug when they realize that both of them lost their mothers and haven't been allowed to grieve for the loss properly. The next day, Tohru visits her mother's grave alongside Yukikyo Arisa and Saki. They realize that Tohru's grandfather visited earlier than they did. The group enjoys having a picnic near the grave. Kyo suddenly realizes that he knows Tohru's mother, and Yuki recognizes the baseball cap found in Tohru's room. Shigeru brings Tohru, Yukikyo, and Hattori for a short vacation to the Soma's lakeside house. However, Hattori figures out that Shigeru only got everyone to hide from his editor. Shigeru reveals that the vacation is more for Hattori because Hattori's ex-girlfriend's wedding is happening soon. Meanwhile, Kyo, Tohru, and Yuki visit the lake, but Kyo and Yuki accidentally turn into animals when they attempt to save Tohru when she slips. The next day, Ayam makes a surprise visit and advises Hattori to move on with his life. Arisa and Saki buy Tohru a new swimsuit as a present to their friend. They enlist Kyo and Yuki to go shopping with them, and the group decides that the pink swimsuit is the best for Tohru. While having lunch at a soba shop, Arisa recalls meeting Tohru in middle school. Back then she was shocked to learn that Kyoko, Tohru's mother, and her idol had a daughter as plain and weak as Tohru. Witnessing how close Tohru and her mom is, Arisa starts to grow bitter because of her dire situation with her father. Continuing from the flashback, Tohru saves Arisa from a group of gang members and takes her back to her house. She grows closer to Kyoko and Tohru, loving the new warm environment their household brings. Finally, Arisa decides to quit the gang and is saved by Kyoko. After that day, Arisa swears to become Tohru's best friend. Eventually, the pair met Saki in 8th grade and befriended her. Tohru, Eris, and Saki eventually grew inseparable before Kyoko's untimely death. The episode ends with Arisa cooking food for her father. While Tohru and Yuki are walking home, they encounter Hatsuharu, who is carrying a tiger in his hands. Yuki tells Tohru that the tiger is a member of the Zodiac named Kisa Soma. At Shigeru's house, Hatsuharu informs them that Kisa ran away from home because she is being bullied. Kisa bites Hatsuharu and hurries off to someplace in the house, prompting Tohru to look for her. Tohru comforts Kisa and Kisa begins to trust Tohru more, to the point she transforms back into a human and follows Tohru wherever she goes. After 3 days in Shigeru's residence, Kisa receives a note from her homeroom teacher asking her to return to school and learn to like herself more to improve. Yuki disagrees with the letter and states that someone else needs to accept them first before they can recover, referring to Tohru, who has taken all members of the Zodiac. Kisa agrees and returns to school since she knows Tohru and her family will always be with her. On the way home, Tohru runs into a beautiful individual. She learns that the person is named Ritsu Soma, the monkey of the Zodiac. Shigeru wants Ritsu to learn to be more confident and suggests that Ritsu talk to Kyo and Yuki. However, he still panics with his words. Tohru accidentally embraces Ritsu, and Ritsu turns into a monkey much to Tohru's surprise, because she always thought Ritsu was a beautiful girl. Ritsu says that wearing female clothes has always made him feel calmer. Ritsu later gets tricked into fooling Mitsuru, Shigeru's editor, so he has more time to submit the manuscript. When he discovers that Mitsuru is only doing her job, he feels wrong and apologizes for all the mistakes and trouble he has caused. Tohru tells him to be more confident and he later befriends Mitsuru. Interesting story up to this point? Great, but before I move further, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and give us a like. Done? Well then let's continue. Kisa becomes a constant presence in Shigeru's household and still spends much time with Tohru. The frequent visits make Hiro Soma jealous of Tohru, so he meets her. When Hiro and Tohru meet, he belittles her and steals her notebook, which contains a photo of Kyoko. Kisa and Momiji find Hiro and demand that he apologize and return Tohru's notebook. He reluctantly gives back the notebook and receives a hug from Tohru as punishment. Because of the hug, Tohru learns that Hiro is the sheep of the Zodiac. Later, Hiro brings Kisa to Tohru's house and demands that Tohru should take them out to the park. While watching Kisa, it is revealed that Hiro told Akito he loves Kisa. Because Akito wants all the Zodiacs to love only her, she harms Kisa. Since then, Hiro has been angry at himself for not protecting Kisa. As a result, he has been taking out his anger on Tohru. Tohru comforts him and tells him he will be able to protect Kisa in the future. Motoko Minagawa, the president of the Prince Yuki fan club, and her 2 club members plan to get rid of Tohru by finding a weakness of Saki. They pretend to be interested in Saki's abilities, so the girl can invite them to her house to talk. The trio managed to infiltrate Saki's house but were shocked to see how normal it was. When they search her room, they find Megumi Hanajima, Saki's younger brother, behind the closet. The room is filled with awkward tension when Saki announces the real reason why the other girls have decided to visit her. Afraid that Megumi and Saki might unleash their powers on them, the trio flees the house. Tohru and Arisa drop by Saki's house after the incident to ensure the other girls do not harm her. Saki feels happy that despite Tohru having other friends, she is still considered an important friend to Tohru. The next episode explains Saki's backstory. Saki was born with her powers and was constantly bullied since elementary school because people assumed she was a witch. She became an outcast when one of her bullies was harmed due to her powers. Megumi comforts her at home and attempts to act as his sister so that he can understand his sister better. Despite all this, she continuously gets bullied until she transfers to high school and meets Tohru and Arisa. She notices that the 2 girls are a bit odd. They become friends, but Saki doesn't open up until Arisa questions her about the incident and her powers. When she opens up to them, Tohru consoles her and reassures her that they will never judge her. Saki decides that Tohru and Arisa are her true friends. Tohru receives an exam result with a failing mark and is forced to take a makeup exam for her bad grades. Yuki, Arisa, and Saki cheer her up, saying they are sure she'll do better in the makeup exam. However, on the walk home, Tohru collapses with a fever. When they return to the Soma residence, Shigeru sends her to bed. Meanwhile, Kyo decides to make some rice porridge for her to eat. She starts crying out of guilt when he talks to Tohru during her meal. Kyo tells her that if she wants to do better, she'll have to get better first and encourages her to eat. Later, Hattori, Momiji, and Kisa visit Tohru, and Yuki hands over Tohru a notebook so she can study. After passing the makeup exam, Kyo, Yuki, and Tohru see Kagura. Shigeru insists that Kyo go on a shopping date with her. During their date, Kagura mentions hiding his proper form from Tohru, but he shuts her up and they return home. However, they see a familiar face when they reach the front door. It turns out the familiar face is Kyo's foster father, Kazuma Soma, who taught Kyo, Kagura, Yuki, and Hatsuharu martial arts when they were younger. After introducing himself to Tohru, he speaks to Kyo alone. Kyo reminds him of his promise to return to the dojo with him, but Kazuma tells Kyo that he should remain in Shigeru's house because he is healing better alongside Tohru. In the evening, Kagura overhears Kazuma and Shigeru talking about Kyo and Tohru. Kazuma is planning on removing Kyo's bracelet to expose the proper form of the cat to Tohru in the hopes that Tohru can save him. Later, Kazuma takes Tohru to witness Kyo's transformation. Kyo gets frightened that Tohru might reject him and runs away, but Tohru goes after him. When she catches up to him, she gets scared by the sight of his proper form but decides to try to save him. She clings to him and vows never to leave him alone. He briefly gets reminded of his mother, and then transforms into a human to return the embrace before turning into his cat form again. The next day, Kazuma leaves the house without telling Kyo. He tells Tohru the reason why he adopted Kyo. He confesses that he took in Kyo as a means of atonement to all the horrible things he said to his grandfather, the holder of the cat spirit before Kyo. He admits that he eventually grew to love Kyo as his son. Kyo catches up to Tohru and Kazuma and apologizes for being a brat. The pair reconcile and bid each other farewell. Meanwhile, Yuki begins to grow unsure of his feelings, which attracts the attention of Hatsuharu and Tohru. However, the day ends with Shigeru inviting most of the Zodiac members for dinner at his house. The season ends with Hiro visiting Rin Soma, the horse of the Zodiac. and Shigeru visiting Akito. The pace of the anime is well written in the first season of the remake. Unlike the initial Fruits Basket, which ended too abruptly, the remake takes time to explore each of the characters' feelings throughout all of its events. Hence, Tohru and Kyo are not yet a couple, and several problems still need to be resolved. We have to wait until the second season to see some of the story arcs ends, but we're hoping for romantic moments or rivalry in Fruits Basket's second season. Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing so you never miss out on any new recaps. That's all for today. We'll see you at the next one.